Then now look at how does this architecture works. Now, this is Kubernetes architecture. So you have the user interface. So in this, like the clients, so in this area, it can either be with your GUI or with your CLI. Do you understand? So now, these are the main control engine for Kubernetes. We have the API server, we have the scheduler, we have the control manager, and etcd. Now, I will tell you what each and every one of them, what they do, and how they operate. So let's assume we have two nodes. So this is a node, two-node server. I mean, two-node cluster, for example. This is the first node. This is the second node. So in the first node, we have a pod. We have 3 pods. So one of each of the pods has, so here, most of the time, it is always advisable to have a container running in a pod, but many times we have multiple containers running in the pod. So don't worry about when you see 3 containers there, 1 container here, you can have as many, but most of the time we have one container in a pod. So that's why you can create as many pods as you want. So that's work of the Kubernetes is going to orchestrate everything. So here we have 3 containers, 1 containers, 2 containers. We have the container runtime, which is the Docker. So I will explain this. So we now relate it back to Docker. You're able to understand it. Then we have the kubelet and kube proxy. So this, we have the same thing we have here, we have here. So now let me start from here now. Now let's start a journey. So this API server is the main act. I want to use football as an example, then I realize not everybody might like football here. So let me just use the general term. So this API is the main what can I use now? Is the center of Kubernetes when we call the fulcrum. This is the API server. So before you can communicate with any of these worker nodes, you have to ask from the API server. So before we get there, let me just give a breakdown of which one. So API server is the center or the act of what the Kubernetes. So scheduler is like a messenger. It works for API server. Just be following me. Scheduler works for API server. You know, when we have the manager, we now have the PA, right? So see scheduler as the PA. So controller manager, see this person as the director, one of the director, like one of the board that in charge of, do you know those managers that will be, their own job is to approve? Are you getting me? So their own job is to what? To approve. Okay, this is this. Okay, I will approve this. I will sign this. Okay, we need this. We need all this. Let's say it's a logic. We need let's say, what do I call it now? We need 10 computers. Okay, I will do the order. I will approve the order. You know those kind of settings. So that is what this controller manager does. Then the etcd, you see this as the database, right? So this is what we call, it must function as the database. Now, what do they do? Now, this API center, I told you this is the start of it. Before anybody, this is the user. Maybe I, as a user, I want to query the hoster or maybe a service account or anything that wants to query the server. We have to come through the what? API. So if I come here and I query the API server, maybe I do kubectl get node. I'm asking from the API server. So immediately, the API server will reach out to what? To the etcd. So once he reach out to the etcd, like, okay, I have this information to get node. Do we have such information in our database? The etcd will now go and search from here. Do we have that such node? Or in the data in what he has stored? Say, yes, we have it. The etcd will come back to the API and said, yes, we have two nodes. This is the name. So we will give it to the API. So the API now will now what print it to the user. That's where you see Kubernetes get node. You see the list of the node. There are many processes that is happening underground. So in which I just explained now. So now, that one is like you want to request an. So what about in a situation in which you